Amy, Amy, Amy Klobuchar, Amy Klobuchar. What's up, everybody? Ghost for Yang here with your latest presidential memoir book review. Today, we're looking at The Senator Next Door by Amy Klobuchar. That's why I needed the drink. Published in August of 2015, the book is a thorough, and I mean thorough with a capital Th, autobiography of the senator from Minnesota's life. Okay, to be completely fair, Amy Klobuchar is a very impressive person. She has been a senator for the state of Minnesota for over 12 years. Previously, she was county attorney of Hennepin County for 8 years, which we get a thorough detail of. For the most part, throughout this campaign, I haven't had much of an opinion on Amy Klobuchar. I've noticed her be awkward at times during debates, but then again, that's true of most politicians not named Barack Obama. She's proposed positions that label her as a centrist and an incrementalist. And while I disagree with this fundamentally, I respect that she's trying to be realistic about her proposals. But man, this book nearly broke me, everybody. When I started this project of reviewing all the candidates' memoirs, my fear was I was signing up for a series of boring, dry, uninspiring tomes. I've been happily surprised for the most part. While some reads have been better than others, I felt invigorated and inspired by all the candidates' texts, even when I have disagreed with their political stances. Until now. I don't know how much I do agree or don't agree with Amy Klobuchar's proposals. Just took one of those newspaper quizzes that compared my stances against all the candidates, and Amy came in right at the middle. The Senator Next Door is a comprehensive book. I mean, this thing is detailed. I can tell you now what Amy Klobuchar wore for several Halloween and Christmas parties. Once she was dressed as a Christmas tree, and in that moment, her college boyfriend broke up with her. Another time, she dressed as Prince, which I just realized makes perfect sense because they're both from Minnesota. He's like their Jesus. But I wasn't able to come away from this book with any perspective beyond Amy Klobuchar is a senator. Before that, she was a county attorney. Before that, she was a corporate lawyer. We get the standard upbringing. Her grandparents were immigrants that came to America for a better life. Her father was a big-time journalist who actually, through fate, got to call the 1960 election for John F. Kennedy over Richard Nixon. Amy was born in 1960, and her earliest memory is her mom crying over JFK's death. We get a lot about Amy being an eager beaver babysitter as a young girl. We get a lot about her being in the Campfire Girls. Her father's alcoholism is traumatic for her, as is her parents' divorce. Though ultimately, and I like this, her parents ultimately remained friends and have kept a relatively tight family unit. One of her best memories from this time is the long bike trips that she and her dad would take. She develops a little bit of a mentality of obstacles are how you get to the solutions. And boy, does she get a lot of obstacles thrown at her through this. And so she then tries to trace a line from obstacles growing up to obstacles she faces now as a senator and obstacles our country faces, and sees those as the opportunities for us to progress, whatever that may mean. Amy has a particular affinity for Hubert Humphrey. Hubert Humphrey? I don't know. Politician before my time. He was a senator from Minnesota and then ultimately became Lyndon Johnson's vice president. If you worship Hubert Humphrey, or the idea of someone really worshiping Hubert Humphrey throughout a book appeals to you, then this book is for you. When she's ultimately in the Senate, she asks for Hubert Humphrey's desk, but they give her the wrong Humphrey's desk, and she decides not to make a stink about it for a while until ultimately they switch it for her. We get a whole passage on two different guys named Humphrey's desks. Hubert Humphrey, he's Amy's guiding star. He's Amy's hero. He is the wind beneath her wings. So Amy attends Yale for college and later the University of Chicago for law school. While she's a student, she interns for Vice President Walter Mondale, who then became obviously a presidential candidate in the 80s. In the early 90s, she's very active in Bill Clinton's campaign and gets to attend the Democratic convention that year as a delegate. So Here's someone who's been involved in politics since a very, very, very early age. Around this time, Amy meets her future husband, John Bessler, 7 years her junior, and the two go on their first date with a friend in tow due to some weird shenanigans to see Wayne's World. I always like getting those little tidbits, you know. Senator from Minnesota, possible president, met her husband, and their first date was to Wayne's World. My childhood is catching up to me. So Amy spends 13 years as a private lawyer before entering politics. She's eventually successfully elected as the county attorney of Hennepin County in 1999 in an election decided by less than 9 votes per precinct. 9 votes. And it's actually the same election that saw Jesse the Body Ventura become governor of Minnesota. After 8 years as county attorney, she runs for and wins the Senate seat and starts her term in 2007. We get a breakdown of the financial crisis of 2008. She takes the pretty safe stance of, I disagreed with the bailout, most Minnesotan banks were behaving responsibly, but ultimately I voted for it due to the threats to our economy. Kind of reads the way you'd expect the Iraq war vote to read in any Democratic candidate's memoir that voted for it. Is what it is. We also get her friendship with also Minnesota Senator and former Saturday Night Live comedian Al Franken. This is way before his scandal that got him kicked out of office. At one point while traveling to D.C., a flight attendant mistakenly thinks that she's Al Franken's wife. When it's ultimately revealed that she is not his wife and is simply the other senator, the flight attendant is very disappointed and they nearly lose her luggage. And back to that thread of obstacles, there's a lot of that in this book. Obstacles, Amy getting dumped, Amy getting targeted socially at her firm, a lot of issues on her wedding day. Amy has a lot of really bad days. I feel for her, you know? No one wants to have a bad day. I mean, ultimately, there really isn't anything I take away from this book. It's a standard, calculated political memoir from the heartland. Campfire girls, lawyer jokes. Oh God, so many lawyer jokes. And more lawyer jokes. And then senator jokes. Like, give me something, any sense of style, please. I feel bad. I don't have a negative opinion of Amy Klobuchar. Homegirl graduated Yale undergrad and UChicago Law School, then spent 13 years as a lawyer, represented huge clients like MCI, then got elected to state office and finally national office. She's been a potent figure in the Democratic Party. It's just... It's done. The book is done. She's a perfectly good senator. Hell, if she gets the nomination and beats Trump, then maybe we can all go back to not paying attention to the presidency. She'd do just fine a job and we can turn our attentions elsewhere. And if I ever need help falling asleep, I'll turn on CNN. Anyways, thanks for watching this review of Amy Klobuchar's The Senator Next Door. I don't have any drink left, but cheers, Amy. Your humor isn't my cup of tea or whiskey, but you've been an inspiration to many people, and particularly the young girls of this country that have aspirations of seeking higher office. That's the latest Ghost for Yang review. As always, if you liked this review and you want to see more, click below to subscribe. Comment, retweet, it all helps the channel. I really appreciate everyone engaging in these reviews and paying attention, whether you're for Andrew Yang or not. As always, I say vote. Make sure you vote. Make sure you're registered. We have to participate in our democracy for it to truly be representative. So that's the latest Ghost for Yang review. We'll have more up shortly. We're running out of Democratic presidential candidates, but there's a few more texts that we need to take a look at. See you next time.